Hey guys, welcome to Whiskey and Literature. I'm Captain Mike. I do whiskey and book reviews, and today it is whiskey. It is the High West that everyone is loving to hate. Maybe that's a bit strong, but let's get the whiskey and then talk about it. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that I am a big fan of High West. I lived in Utah for a long time. High West Double Rye is one of the first bottles of whiskey that I ever purchased. Also, the Midwinter Night's Dram is probably the first 10 or 15 bottles that I ever had. I've done a distillery tour a few times. Whenever I go to northern Utah, I go to Park City. I love it up there, and go to the saloon and have some High West up there. It is always, I think, to me, a good time. High West's flagship product has been Rendezvous Rye, finished in port barrels, a Midwinter Night's Dram since 2013. For some fans, this is the perfect winter whiskey. Usually I babble and do the specs and stats of the whiskeys first and then drink the whiskey, but we're gonna drink the whiskey first, tell you what I think about it, and then we're gonna do the specs and stats and then give my thoughts on the pour. Let's get to it. And I have had a few pours of this. This took a whole journey to get to me. A friend of mine, he had another friend purchase a case of this up in Park City, and then my friend brought my bottle down to southern Utah, and then I transported it from there back here to Florida. I think it's a great looking whiskey. I always think it's going to be a little more ruby or red than it actually is. It does have a little reddish hue to it. It's a nice looking, inviting whiskey. Have you ever had any Midwinter Night's Dram? Is it something you look forward to, or is it kind of losing its favor with you? It's a really nice nose. It has that port influences coming on. It's some red fruits in there. But that spice component is still throughout. It's a hint of mint in the nose for me. Maybe like a piney or a juniper type nose. I really couldn't tell you the difference in my mind between juniper and pine. It does remind me of the mountains in Utah. But it's really nice. Sweet, red fruit, spicy, minty, and a bit of juniper or pine nose. It's really nice and welcoming. I think that port influence is nice and evident. It's first some red fruits coming through. It's more of a cherry note to me than say a plum note, but it's definitely those stone red fruits are in there. But there's a constant underlying rye spice note. I mean, the base of this is a huge amount of rye in that Rendezvous Rye, so there's no way you're gonna escape that, and it's evident throughout the entire sip of the whiskey. It's something that I really enjoy, and I think perhaps it's a bit stronger on the port influence than in the previous couple of Midwinter Night's Drams. It's really evident why people have enjoyed this throughout the years as a winter whiskey. It's kind of those red fruits that are coming in, that spice. It's like a mulled wine. It's not that strong to me. We've made mulled wine here in the house, or what used to be our house, many times, and I think it's a nice, I mean, I love that smell, and those components are in here, but it's just like a shadow of that mulled wine spice. But it's definitely, there's some fruity, some spicy, it's a rye spice, but also some cinnamon and some cloves. I do really enjoy this pour, and I think I'm enjoying it more than the past couple iterations of Midwinter Night's Dram. Yeah, it's great. I can see why people, and it's such a hit in Utah. You're there and it's so cold and you have a fire going, you sit on the back having a pour of this. I think that would be a great evening. And I live in Florida, so I wear shorts year round. It is what it is. But I still, on those chillier evenings, this is a great pour. Let's do the specs and stats of Midwinter Night's Dram and tell you what I actually think about this bottle and Midwinter Night's Dram in general. The base for this whiskey is Rendezvous Rye, and that is a blend of MGP's 95-5 rye and High West 80-20 rye. And that High West 80-20 20 rye is 80% rye and 20% malted rye. So this is almost entirely rye. And we don't know what the proportion of High West MGP, they don't tell us that. It is non-age stated, though my understanding is Rendezvous Rye these days is between 4 and 7 years old. It is non-chill filtered and bottled at 98.6 proof. Last year, there were over 180,000 bottles of Midwinter Nights Dram produced. I haven't seen any word on the numbers for this year. MSRP is $149.99. Okay, here's what I really think about this bottle. I mean, in 2013, when they produced the first Midwinter Nights Dram, how many port finish ryes were out there? I can't imagine there were a whole lot. Honestly, I wasn't drinking whiskey back then, so I can't tell you what the landscape was. But I think it was much less than what it is today. Finishing whiskeys these days are not a dime a dozen, but there are a lot of finished whiskeys out there. Port finish ryes definitely exist, though not in huge numbers, and I think that's a shame because I think this is a great combination, that rye spice and the fruitiness from the port. I think that is a great combination. But this has, throughout the years, created a league of followers. People who have eagerly awaited each annual release. But do they still do that? I checked the Dab's website this morning, and there's 820 bottles on the shelves in all of the state of Utah, and more than 1,000 barrels of bottles sitting in the warehouse. And this is why I think they're sitting there and not selling out like crazy, and that is the price. Last year in Utah, well, the MSRP was still $149.99. So the MSRP has not changed this year from last year. But in Utah, last year, they sold the bottles for $124.99. So I was out there last year, and I bought 3 bottles of High West Midwinter Nights Dram Act 11. And that was great, because I brought them home, and I just drank a whole bottle in like 4 or 5 days. And it was great. I just tore through that bottle and really enjoyed it. But at $149.99, I only bought 1 bottle this year in Utah. And I see Midwinter Nights Dram sitting all over the place here in Tampa Bay. And not for $149, it's usually $189 or more. I only see it at $189 at Total Wine. Everywhere else, it's $199 or greater. And so there's no wonder, I think, that people are letting it sit on the shelf. I think each whiskey has a point, a price point, above which people are not going to pay for that. And I think Midwinter Nights Dram is bumping up against that. I bought Act 10, and I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for that because I bought it on secondary, and it was crazy. In fact, I don't enjoy that whiskey very much because of how much I paid for it. Whereas Act 11, I got it at a good price. I really enjoy it, and it just tastes better because I paid less. I don't think whiskey tastes better. You want it to taste better if you paid more. But I really overpaid on Act 10, but Act 11 was a great deal. And I will say $149, I don't think is out of line for an excellent finished whiskey, but it's starting to bump up against that. Mrs. Captain and I, we did a video a little while ago with Barstown Bourbon Company. They had a Carter Cellars, that's a Cabernet finished whiskey, and that was amazing, $159.99. And I think that was worth every penny. I think this Midwinter Nights Dram is worth $149.99, but man, much more than that. I'm holding to my gun these days on Midwinter Nights Dram at MSRP. Things are kind of crazy here in Florida. When I was in Phoenix for the holiday recently, they had Midwinter Nights Dram on the shelf there at Total Wine for $159.99. And here it's $189.99. So go figure. Something's really out of whack here in the bourbon market in Florida. I don't know what it is where you are, but if you can, I would say hold on Midwinter Nights Dram at $149.99, but I think it is worth that. So that is my opinion on the bottle. I'm happy to have it. I have 10, 11, and 12 now. All my previous ones have been finished, and it's a bottle that I enjoy, and I'm looking forward to this winter, whatever winter we have in Florida, and sitting outside and having a pour of Midwinter Nights Dram. All right, my guys, I'd love to know what you think about this bottle. Have you given up on Midwinter Nights Dram? Is it something you look forward to? Is it tapping out? What is the price in your market? Is it even available? I do see it pretty much everywhere here right now in the Tampa Bay. How is it in your market? Guys, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe to see more of my content. I do whiskey and book reviews. But for now, my friends, you know what to do. I hope you're reading something good, drinking something great, and wear that damn hat. Cheers.